Jerusalem. I don't understand the rest of the words, but all I know is Jerusalem. Good morning, and thank God it's Friday. I, for one, am excited to be here this morning because yesterday I had an incident that I am very sure. Please, somebody should warn my co-host.
I'm sure today you're not going to run around.
Please. Can somebody tell my co-host to wait for me to introduce him? All right, now good morning to you once again. And this is a morning update on TV XYZ. I will not be doing this alone this morning.
I'm here with that. I'm here with you.
Yes.
I'm here with you.
Eric is here with me.
Today is Friday.
Yes.
And you are looking very, very hearty.
You're looking really awesome. It's like we planned.
Yes.
Were you in my wardrobe last night?
I came around spiritually.
On that note, today we'll be giving you some newspaper headlines. And as always, Eric will share the newspaper review. And Wisdom Hedejome, these days he says he calls himself Nyansa. So Nyansa Hedejome will bring you some details of the headlines. But before we do that,
of course, we'll also be helping you to appreciate some concerns that are going unnoticed. You would realize that in many homes these days, especially in urban centers, our children cannot speak our local languages. It is a serious issue. All of us want our children to speak English, yet we want to train our children to grow up to become future leaders of which country? Because when the orientation from the start makes them feel like everything foreign is the best and everything local is perhaps secondary, they may grow up and may not have that natural attachment or the spirit of patriotism that would be imbibed in them. Just recently, one of the schools in Accra issued a statement that they may not be teaching the Ga language again because they are struggling for Ga teachers. The question is, if you and I are not helping our children to appreciate our own local languages, how would they grow up, perhaps go to the school of languages, come out and want to teach this? You may take it lightly, but the consequences may be grave because what we want to build in future for our country may not reflect what our forefathers used to know and had wished for. So today on the program, we'll try to dig into this particular issue that is creeping into many homes and see whether there are consequences and what we need to do at this time. This is coming up on the discussion segment on Morning Update. Of course, we'll also be sharing with you what the newspapers will be telling us. And today, Friday, as usual, two editors will be joining us. They'll be telling us their pick for the week, and we'll have our conversation. You can also join us by sending us your text messages, WhatsApp only, on 020-866-7000 and 0556-999-999.
Now, speaking of patriotism, don't forget that the segment that Eric introduced, which is talking about social issues, is brought to you by Health Alert Clinic, Let's Go Herbal. And of course, the show is coming to you and proudly sponsored by X Natural Mineral Water. We'll take a quick turn and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. This is the morning update on TV XYZ. You can also chase us by visiting your social media platform, Facebook and YouTube, and you can get Wezo TV, where you can follow all the discussions on Morning Update, which is starting now till 9 o'clock. At the latter part of our show today will be entertainment. JKD will join us and share with us what is trending and what you need to know about things that may be happening around the country this weekend. It's now time for the newspaper headlines, and the first paper I have with me is the Inquisitor. Front page, Nana's rep at Finance Ministry, Oforiata or Edu Buahene. The value is the same, and AOMC holds executive revelers 2021. Electrochem Ghana magnifies Adan and Kokobo trial. CID investigator exposes himself under cross-examination. I want to share with you how they appeared on the front page of the Inquisitor newspaper. Let me quickly do the Business and Financial Times. The front page, time for drastic change to gas policy, says economy being exposed to huge financial risk. High initial cost, lack of access to funds remain major hurdles, and hung parliament has reduced burden on public purse. Martin Pebu. So let's see how the front page of the Business and Financial Times carries these headlines. The back page, hypertension, kidney failure high among youth now, says Dr. Akpalu on Vodafone Healthline. And Ghana Institute of Engineers hold 50th presidential address. So that's the back page of the Business and Financial Times. There are other stories in the center spread. We'll look at that when we join the newspaper review segment, Abna.
Yes. Now, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, it says here that school children take to drugs. So it looks like a lot of students have experimented with one drug or another. And now this one says, I regret firing warning shots coming from Howard Coombs. I wanted to use her nickname, but I reserved that. Now, retirement age debate is also ongoing. Experts express varied views over the retirement. I think yesterday you did that headline.
Which story?
With regards to extending the what's it called?
The retirement age.
Yes.
Austin Game has been speaking, and yesterday there was the General Secretary of the PNC who tried to convince me that, look, there are lots of young people there who need to be motivated, challenged. There's no doubt that those who may be 60 years and haven't held certain positions will acquire all the experience, but they can always play an advisory role and give the opportunity. We don't already have jobs in the system, and so we need to do that. Otherwise, people will occupy positions. They may have to go on retirement. They will still be there, and this can be abused by government.
True.
Because people need to go to give others the opportunity. And this happens in the security agencies, where especially the police service, where people are supposed to be on retirement. There are equally very qualified personnel who can occupy those positions, but because of political, parochial interests, some of these people are kept there, and because they know they are going anyway, they may be influenced to do things that may not support the regulations or the positions of the agencies involved. Now,
another sad news. I remember recently we did a story about an accident on the Buipe Tamale Road, and now there's another accident where 2 people have died and 15 injured. Eric, do you know if there's a particular reason why this is happening? Is there something the road needs that isn't there, like a road sign or a speed ramp? Because it says that another crash on the Buipe Tamale Highway has claimed 2 lives.
In fact, I've used that particular road very often.
Right.
Good road, long stretch, wide enough. A few potholes. If you don't know the road very well, you are likely to just bump onto some of these potholes, and some of them are really deep. Apart from that, there are a few speed ramps that really are constructed in such a way that it takes you by surprise. You don't know, you just drive at top speed because of the stretch, and before you realize you are getting closer to the speed ramp. What I think must be done is for the Ghana Highway Authority to go back to those stretches. You know, because of the sparse populations along the stretch in terms of the settlements which are on those stretches, you can drive for 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers, and you not meet even one settlement. And a lot of people take advantage of the free nature of the stretch and then drive at top speed. I think because of the accident, because of the robberies and so on, the Ghana Highway Authority must go back to those stretches and then assess the road properly, talk to the drivers, and get real lifetime experiences and use that to redesign those stretches.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot, because this is becoming, and this is within just 2 months. That's too much.
Sad. It's very
It's
sad.
very sad. Now, speaking of, well, we are moving into some sort of good news. It says National Blood Bank launches application to increase blood stock. So just in case you go to the hospital, they don't now have to be looking for your family member to come and donate some blood.
So let me do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It says Accra city center is choked as traders capture streets, pavements, disregard COVID-19 protocol, and drivers meet in trouble for defiling a 6-year-old girl. EC boss can't testify. Supreme Court dismisses. And then, of course, the WTO has a new boss who is from Nigeria, and Ghana is proud. President Akufo-Addo has congratulated her. So, front page, Ghanaian Times newspaper. Center spread, I want to go into the details of this story by the reporter, Nyako Nyirinchi. It talks about the fact that the AMA bylaw 2017-2A says on obstruction and public pathway states that a person shall not park a vehicle or park goods or items in a public pathway or a pavement. However, on a visit by this reporter to the Cocoa Marketing Board CMB area, Kimbu, Makola, Rollins Park, Kwame Nkrumah interchange, and Circle and so forth, you see that people have taken over the pavement, displaying foodstuff, clothing, shoes, bags, etc. This place is, sometimes people call it the Aflao Station. If you go to the Central Business District, this is what you see. And the Ghanaian Times newspaper, if perhaps my cameraman will focus the lenses well, you get the pictures quite clearly. So you see the different locations he visited, Accra, Makola, the CMB area, and so on. You see how chaotic it is. But you see, I read the AMA regulation, which does not allow people to occupy the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Central Business District of Accra is already choked. So you have cars which take about half of the road, and this particularly around the Aflao Station area. Mm-hmm. And so there's always heavy vehicular traffic. That is just about 1.5 minutes walk from the MTTD headquarters. And that is about 2 or 3 minutes walk from the AMA headquarters. That's the assembly itself, where the mayor sits. And so if the mayor cannot see the chaos there,
exactly,
and the police MTTD pretends it is not aware, then we don't need to pay them. Then it means that the laws are not working. And anybody can visit there. I'm sure on Monday we'll take our cameras there to share with those outside Accra how bad the situation is.
I love how much you hold the people we pay with our tax accountable. Yesterday, I was listening to your interview.
Somebody said that one of the problems we have in this country is that people have rights that they are not exercising.
Which is very
imagine
true.
You live in a community, a contractor has been paid to build, let's say, drains or construct a road. Mm-hmm. You can see clearly he's doing shoddy work. You can see that these drains really will not solve the flooding in your community. Mm-hmm. What stops you from engaging your assemblyman or engaging your MP and drawing his attention to it? There are prominent people, academicians, politicians, ordinary people who make a lot of, and I'm using this advisedly, complaints or noise on radio by phoning in and venting out their anger. Why won't they channel those to the assembly and make sure that the right things are done? So we keep quiet, we allow things to go anyway. Contractors move away with their profit, they pay their kickbacks, and after 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, we come back crying that our roads are bad and the contractors, they shoddy work. I think that every Ghanaian must understand that you are a taxpayer, irrespective of where you are or who you are in society. Your contribution is helping to build this nation.
Exactly.
And there's a group of people who are called public or civil servants who depend on those taxes to survive. And they are the ones who are mandated to ensure that policies are effectively implemented. If nothing is being done appropriately, your money is going waste, because the resource that has been plowed into that investment may not last for a longer time, and government would have to go back borrowing, which will affect your future and how Ghana's economy should look like.
Which is why I am very sad about the poor job being done by the National Development Planning Commission, because they are responsible for the redevelopment of projects that the government lets go. Say if Mahama is in power, starts a project, and another president comes and leaves it
It is not their fault.
But they, I don't
imagine
see
I'm a member of a
doing?
political party and my party is in government. So I appoint people to serve on the NDPC board. And you also win tomorrow, and for some reason, you want to take all those people out and replace them with your own appointees. If the EC, if the Supreme Court judge, if let's say the Shraj boss and other officers have been insulated by way of laws that have been passed, so that whenever there's a change in government, you cannot easily remove them, I think we should be thinking towards doing same for NDPC and put the right people there to have a long-term plan that must be followed by every government to develop our nation. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, but still, if your party puts you in power, you are a citizen of this country. So you also need to be patriotic towards the people that are paying you.
Good point.
I want to use your words. We pay them.
Let me
and MPs should live in their constituencies so we can find them and report.
Can I do the Daily Dispatch now? Daily Dispatch, front page. Battle for NPP's General Secretary post. I think this one of the papers we reviewed yesterday that has been added. I think apart from that, I don't have much on my table, Abena.
I have the Chronicle. It says here that I have buried Rawlings' indignity coming from Nana Akufo-Addo, and also armed gang robbers, credit union. A lot of these things are happening. What is the police doing about it?
What is it?
There's another gang robbery here in the credit union.
The police are doing their best, I will tell you. If you look at the ratio that's the population to the police men we have in our country, it is still small. It doesn't meet the UN standards. 2, you and I are always carefree. We are not vigilant. You go to other communities, you realize that everybody is vigilant. I've seen a few cameras mounted at strategic locations in the capital. I'm sure it may be extended to other parts of the country.
Right.
I don't know whether the management systems are such that as we see them standing at the various major intersections, somebody is at an office already operating. Otherwise, even what we have invested in, they become a white elephant. All I can say is you and I must be very vigilant, be suspicious of any movement that is not very normal to your environment.
I support that. So let's be vigilant as well and be each other's keepers. I say this all the time. If we are not going to take care of ourselves, then why exactly are we living?
So we'll be taking a break. When we come back, the name that shakes buildings, Wisdom Hedejoma, will be here with the news.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah. Always drink fresh, natural, eggs, mineral, water.
You still got it.
Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
X Natural Mineral Water, simply natural. Now, I want to introduce him, but okay. So we have done a lot of stories or newspaper headlines, and Nyansa Hedejome is here to give us details. Good morning.
Good morning. So yesterday is gone. Another day has come. Welcome.
Don't you dare bring it back. Can we move on?
Yesterday is gone. Another day. Today is Friday. And we love Fridays. Yeah. It's not that we are lazy. Just that Fridays are good.
And we get to sleep after 4 a.m.
Down there.
That is my way.
It's very necessary. That's if you don't have any weddings to attend in the morning. There's maybe weddings to attend.
When are you getting married?
When I grow.
Tell us what you have.
Well, I'll be telling you what's coming up. But before that, okay. So coming up, Supreme Court adjourned sitting to next Monday after EC decision preventing Jane Mensah from mounting the witness box. And then private citizens served notice of impending picketing at EC Supreme Court and Jubilee House over petition demanding Jane Mensah's dismissal. And driver unions suspend planned increase in lorry fares. And then the proposal for extension of retirement age, that debate is also lingering on, and we'll be talking about that. But, before I go into the details, there's this thing I think today I should talk about it. When it comes to our ministerial appointment and all of those, when it comes to educational sector, we look for somebody who has knowledge in education and we place the person there. It comes to health, we do same. It comes to education, finance, we look at people who have backgrounds in accounting and all of those. But why should it be that when it comes to the fishing sector, we put people who do not have knowledge? Clearly yesterday you saw for yourself. It's very unfortunate. I don't know why. For me, I feel
maybe the person has some knowledge that we don't know about yet. So he or she will be demonstrating.
And I think this is a clearance call for all of us that going forward, we shouldn't just look at people who are politically minded, who are politically inclined to be given these appointments. There are young people out there who are well knowledgeable in these areas, who may not necessarily be in your party. We can use them.
All right. So, Wisdom, please take us away. I can see how passionate you are this morning.
Many thanks for your company this morning. My name is Wisdom Hedejime. To our very first one, private citizen Elikem Kotoko has served notice of planned protests to form picketing at the EC headquarters, the Supreme Court and the Jubilee House to put pressure on President to sack Jane Mensah. Now, he has subsequently notified the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, but there are already indications that will be shut down following a recent injunction by the police to secure against planned protesters by physically challenged persons.
Follows growing agitations among NDC members born out of frustration from unanimous decisions striking out almost all applications filed by Chachu Chikata so far. TVXYZ News has cited a formal letter dated February 17 to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command notifying them of the pending picketing at the EC headquarters, the Supreme Court and the Jubilee House from next Wednesday, February 24. The planned picketing, according to the convener Elikem Kotoko, is to draw the attention of President Nana Akufo-Addo to act on its Article 146 petition demanding the removal of Mrs. Jane Mensah from office. The letter noted that the planned picketing shall continue for 3 days each week and that participants will observe the COVID-19 safety protocols, and a maximum of 25 peaceful citizens shall picket at each of the 3 locations. Elikem Kotoko accuses Jane Mensah of knowingly creating constitutional crisis by her actions and inactions, biases, as well as sidelining IPAC and acts of omission.
So the man at the epicenter joins me on the phone. Elikem Kotoko, good morning and many thanks for your time. So first of all, what will this achieve? 25 people at the mentioned locations?
Good morning, my brother, and to your listeners too. The first thing we seek to do is to ensure that the world and the nation at large knows that President Nado is refusing to act on a letter we have written to him. Bearing in mind that not so long ago, he acted swiftly on the same letter that was sent to him, which even included the names of ghosts, which was the premise on which Madame Charlotte Oster was removed from office. And we have enough evidence which we are ready to adduce to the committee when called to do so. And this is the reason for why we want to pick it.
Now, do you foresee or anticipate any ex parte injunction by the police, especially when in recent times there have been ex parte injunction against persons with physically challenged disabilities?
Well, I must be sincere with you that with the current institutions we have, everything is possible because most of them have become very compromised, and they only owe their allegiance to the regime and not to government or state. And so everything is possible. But when they do so, they should always remember that soon the people will rise and there's no army bigger than the people.
Elikem Kotoko, thank you so much for your time this morning.
I am so grateful, my brother.
And Elikem Kotoko is the convener or the private citizen seeking to picket at the Jubilee House, the EC headquarters, and the Supreme Court to sack Jane Mensah. Let's now turn attention to the Supreme Court. And as many predicted, NDC's application for review of the ruling backing EC chair's refusal to mount the witness box has been dismissed. 2 additional Supreme Court judges empaneled by endorsed the unanimous decision asserting that Chachuchi Kata had failed to convince the court.
The request for review said the Apex Courts committed errors of law in arriving at the ruling backing EC chair Jane Mensah's refusal to mount the witness box. He had argued that the panel should rule that Mrs. Jane Mensah, by filing a witness statement and making claims of petitioner's option of cross-examining her in an affidavit, should be compelled to testify. But lawyers of the EC and MPP raised an objection, citing Rule 54 of the Supreme Court's Rules CI 16, insisting that the conditions meriting a review have not been met. The expanded panel, chaired by the Chief Justice, who was part of the earlier ruling, however, unanimously affirmed their earlier decision. Chief Justice Enin Yeboah, who read the decision, explained that no provision in the Constitution or statutes has been pointed out to show that the EC chairperson can be subjected to different rules contrary to established rules of procedure and settled practice. The review included 2 additional Supreme Court judges, Justice Tanko and Lovelace Johnson, whose inclusion did not take anything out of the earlier decision by the Chief Justice, as well as Justice Apao, Mafo Sao, Nene Amegache, Marian Owusu, and Gertrude Tukuno. Here are excerpts of proceedings.
The first respondent's chairperson was stopped from now refusing to subject herself to cross-examination as she had deposed to in affidavits before this court.
If it is not part of his argument, the court, with all due respect, should not allow him to be introducing new things so that we go along forever. That's my point. This is extraneous to his application.
We are not in a situation, my lords, where the petitioner is saying that as soon as he saw those depositions, he told the court, my lords, in view of paragraph A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3 in the affidavit in proposition, I will not pursue the matter. I'll wait.
But the NPP is elated about the trend of proceedings and says the NDC has no case, and it's obvious it is struggling now to convince the court. Briefing the media after proceedings yesterday, a member of the legal team mandated to speak to the issue, Nana Adjoa Dobia Asante, explains further.
The court further held that the strength of your case does not depend on the weakness of your opponent's case. And as such, the petitioner keeps on coming to us stating that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo did not obtain more than 50% of total valid votes cast. Where are your figures? Show us your figures. We are not getting anything from the petitioner nor his witnesses. And as such, we are still lost as to why we are in court.
She noted that the onus lies on the NDC to prove the allegations and that the NPP is more confident and cannot wait for the judgment day.
We are hoping that whatever the verdict, whatever the judgment that comes out of this matter, that any party that is aggrieved will gladly and graciously, as our client did, in whom we are so proud that he did same, that this will take place when the judgment is delivered finally.
Meanwhile, the NDC has expressed disappointment and says it totally disagrees with the Supreme Court's decision. Sami Gyamfi, who addressed the media yesterday on behalf of the petitioners' legal team, said the rulings of the court is interesting.
We respectfully but vehemently disagree with the court, because these applications are not being brought for nothing. We believe that in line with Article 19, Clause 13 of the 1992 Constitution and Section 26 of the Evidence Act, Jean Mensah must be made to testify based on her own election and to answer questions that are germane to the issues before the court. And that refusing that would deny the petition of fair hearing. What else do we need to prove before the court that their non-compliance with Section 26 respectfully has occasioned a miscarriage of justice to the petitioner? Because that is without saying. It is a given.
Lawyer Sami Gyamfi also responded to questions about growing agitation and called on the NDC to withdraw the case called for calm.
These decisions are not going in our favor. And there is a tendency for some of you to be crestfallen and sad. But we are standing here as leaders who have the authority of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to tell you that don't give and don't give in. Chin up, square up your shoulders, because no matter how this court decision will go, no matter how it will go, Ghanaians, all of us are discerning. The world is watching, and we will all know the truth for us.
And still at the Supreme Court, rumors arrive of a possible contempt charges to be slapped against former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine for his predetermined case agenda. Now, but the NDC says it has not seen any formal charges sheet and blames the MPP for instigating the bench against their member. There is more in this following report.
Last week, member of the NDC legal team, Dr. Dominic Ayine, stoked controversy when he suggested that the rulings of the Supreme Court on the election petition case smacks of a predetermined agenda to protect the EC chair. His comment was criticized by a section of the public, including the MPP, which demanded that he's charged for contempt. Dr. Ayine himself on Wednesday said he will not be surprised because of the trend of events. Rumors arrive that the Supreme Court has instituted contempt proceedings against Dr. Dominic Ayine. Details are sketchy, but the NDC believes it's an MPP agenda and that won't fly. Member of the team selected to speak on the ongoing petition case, Sami Gyamfi, who addressed the media, also took a swipe at the Information Minister designate Kojo Oppong Nkrumah.
Dr. Ayine is not in court today and is not with us here because he lost a friend and he had to go for the funeral. That is why lawyer Tony Leta is also not in court. So he's not in court not because of any alleged contempt proceeding that has been brought against him. Number two, officially, we are also not aware of any contempt proceedings that has been brought against him. We've seen a publication by Asase Radio which makes reference to no process. And we don't know how they got that information. So we'll wait and get confirmation of that before we can make our position on that known. But be rest assured that Dr. Ayine is a senior member of the bar. He will not deliberately disparage the court or seek to scandalize the court in any way.
Earlier in court yesterday, the panel was compelled to adjourn hearing to 11:30 a.m. The development came after the petitioner notified the judges through a letter that the counsel for the respondents had filed a late affidavit opposing the petitioner's application for review. According to lawyer Tony Leta, the extension was needed in order to allow the lead counsel for the petitioner reasonable time to factor the said affidavit into the argument in support of the application review.
Away from that, let's do some labor-related stories now. And proposal by MP for Bawku Central for the extension of the retirement age to 65 has been shot down by a section of the public. Now, Mahama Yariga, who is also a legal practitioner, says he is prepared to sponsor a private member's bill to effect the change. But Labour consultant Austin Game has a strong opinion. He has dismissed the call by Bawku Central lawmaker for the extension of the retirement age for public sector workers. In the opinion of Mr. Game, any extension of the pension age will be inimical to the professional development of young people. General Secretary of the People's National Convention, Janet Asana Nabila, who spoke to the issue on the newspaper review segment on Morning Update yesterday, was also strong on that opposition.
Now we don't think about our generational transfer hypothesis of the youth. A lot of the youths are roaming around. People who are very productive, very intelligent, and should be contributing towards Mother Ghana are not doing so because there are no jobs. And people who have contributed their quota, now they are getting to a stage whereby their usefulness is being reduced drastically. They still want to be holding positions, whilst those who are strong cannot be able to get jobs. So I think that the 60 years, we should maintain it and bring the youth on board so that they can also help in building Mother Ghana.
Well, at least there's some good news for commuters for a while. Now, this is because driver unions have resolved to shelve their planned fare increase after an emergency meeting held by the GPRTU yesterday. Some drivers, however, insist it is long overdue.
Last week, one group of drivers, identified as the National Drivers Association, a breakaway group from the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, announced a 10% lorry fare increment effective Monday, February 22nd. The concerned drivers say they can no longer afford to sacrifice in these difficult times when fuel prices continue to shoot up, while the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, DVLA, has increased service charges by 15%, tariffs on spare parts up by 40%, and 25% hike in the price of lubricants on the market. But the Ghana Private Road Transport Union is kicking against the proposed increase. GPRTU General Secretary Godfred Adoma says any such decision must be endorsed by the Transport Minister together with the Ghana Road Transport Coordination Council. TVXYZ News has been speaking to some commercial drivers who vehemently disagree with the GPRTU. They have justified the need for the increments.
If the government will help for the fuel price to come down, as it was when at the time you have not voted, the price were low, the price was down. But after the voting, they are increasing the price. I don't know how to say it, because I don't want to use certain words that I will offend someone. But the way they are increasing the price is not good at all.
So about two prices in now what passengers in so. For baby passengers for so how do passengers for no so because nipa me say be che ba akwa eguso ama wom nti say see how dey 35 na che ba akwa eguso ama wom anya ko ba ku betu aba 5 cedis so dem fa na sa so nti wa we free ha ba 5 cedis na o how ni be krum.
If it's not right to increase fare, then it's not right to increase the fuel too, because the fuel drains our income. If you are buying, excuse me, today 4.5 for 1 gallon, now you go to the fuel pump, it's 3.93 for the 20 cedis. It means it is reduced. So you have to add money to get extra, fuel before you can run for the whole day.
The last time transport fares went up was in July 2020. Government approved 15% and VAT was later reduced to 10% effective August 1st, 2020 after agitations by commuters.
So the Concerned Drivers Association is one of the driver unions who had advocated for the increase. David Abuado is its national vice chairperson. He joins me on the phone. Good morning, David, and many thanks for your time. So first of all, can you confirm that indeed you've shelved that planned fare increase?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, David, I can hear you. I'm asking that, can you confirm to me that indeed you have shelved the planned fare increase because we know some of your members feel so disappointed.
Yes. Good morning to your cherished viewers. And I would say this morning we will be having a press conference at 10 o'clock. But the main issue is, you see, when your team went out to interview those that are, part of it, you see where the drivers are staying. But see, they are only saying fuel. As for fuel, we didn't add it to it. What we have added to it is the charges of DVLA, the 15% charges that DVLA have imposed on drivers to this year. And then the lubricants that are 25% increase. And then the port charges on spare parts, also 40%. All these things has boiled down to we, the commercial drivers, especially we, the commercial drivers. And this is why we are saying on the 22nd of this very month, we will increase our fares by 10%. In the year 2020, the state or the minister were giving us 15%.
Well, David, I did know that yesterday you had a meeting with GPRTU. Did they discuss the issue about the toll increase because it was on the plate at the vetting committee recently? And what options do you have?
Yes, thank you very much. Yesterday, our meeting with GPRTU have reviewed so many things. You see, we only said 3 things. But yesterday, GPRTU have added the toll levy onto it. The toll levy that the minister says if he comes, he will increase. He said that is his priority. He didn't care about the roads the bad nature of roads that we are having. But his priority is to increase toll. Meanwhile, the toll service, you see, this is what Ghana we are lacking. The toll service, it is internal revenue that has to mine it. But this thing has been given to contract. Government doesn't have farm. It is only these tools that he used to build our roads. He doesn't have farm. But he take this thing and give it to contract. And the contractor will also take the amount and take the money and take his amount of it before he will bring the rest to the state. Meanwhile, internal revenue is there. If the staff are not many, they should add the staff or they should take more staff and then expand it so that the government gets the direct tolls and then use it to build the roads. See the motorway that we are using. It's not more motorable.
Okay.
The Eastern Road is not motorable. Kaswa Road is not motorable. Tell me the road in Ghana, the road network in Ghana, which is the best that we can pay the toll that he says is going to increase. So yesterday, GPRTU have added the toll levy to it. The unit cost of car price, the price of car in Ghana and elsewhere, they have added all to it. And once they have also added that one and say what we should do, we are all come to agreement that on 22nd we will not increase the fare though, but we will still have engagement with the minister or the stakeholders that are part of us. So if you ask me this morning, this is what transpired yesterday.
David, let's leave it here. We'll be at your press conference and we'll ask the rest of the questions there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And David Abuado is the National Vice Chairperson of the Concerned Drivers Association. And now, before we go, Minister Designate for Fisheries has been thrown on social media for some questions he answered at the vetting committee, especially one having to do with definition of fish farming, when the question was asked by MP for Boadi, Samson Ahi. Listen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try my best. Fish farming is the process of rearing of fish in the reservoirs and the fish ponds, etc. Thank you.
And some advantages. I think OBM is just the seven.
What are some advantages of a fish farming? Honorable, please, I said, what are the advantages of fish farming?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One advantages of fish farming is it makes the farmer earn some income. It also increases fish in our community. And on that note, we end the Friday's edition of News in Brief or the Morning Update. As always,
do log on to myxyzonline.com for more. My name is Wisdom Hedejebe. So, Abena, what are some of the disadvantages of being a journalist?
Please, I am dumbfounded at the moment, to be honest. Is she still going to get an appointment after this?
You and I don't have the votes.
Still on appointment. It says here that Akufo-Addo appointed Mr. Samuata Mensah, the managing director of CTFM, as head of Coastal Development Authority, which was under Sector Minister Howard Rambo.
Oh, that's how they named it. Well, Sami, refused that appointment after some lot of conversations on social media and all the issues that came up with it. I'm sure you remember.
So hopefully she will also refuse after this.
Well, that power lies in the bosom of the vetting committee members.
She can refuse as well, because we've all seen national television that she couldn't even explain the advantages or even explain fish farming. Anyways, I am going to make some money. I'll be right back, so stick and stay.
Kofi na sɛn haba matumi sayade bia ɛna nka metina homa me yade yakumie
oh na den health alert clinic de yɛde haba ma ɛne organic product nko a ɛna sayade
be ma ne oba a wo ho ayamodene monko health alert clinic
de sɛ yɛ be ma wontimi mu adwuma yi menstrual disorder hypertension anase enam yade STDs wo wadunsom yade bia yɛbɛte ne tɛ ɛde ama wo wɔsan so yɛ massaging ɛne physiotherapy ɔmo wɔ diagnostic machines ɛde hwehwɛ ne pediem sanso na ultrascan
Health Alert Organic Shop nso wɔ hɔnom a organic product nko a ɛna wɔn tɔn hɔnom hwehwɛ yɛ kyerɛ kwan ɛwɔ Madina Post Office yɛwɔ First Atlantic Bank no akyi hɔnom a ɛwɔ Nkran
frɛ yɛn ɛwɔ 0242 518893 and 0242 518865 Health Alert Clinic Go Herbal.
Once again, good morning. And if you just tuned in, this is the morning update on TVXYZ. My name is Nana Abena Sewa. This morning, I am coming to talk or discuss one issue that is bothering a lot of Ghanaians. Should I even say a lot? Because these same people are the ones doing what I am coming to talk about, which is the fact that most of our children do not speak the local language or even understand the local language. I know children in my community or in my estate who do not even understand Bra. And these children come from Ashanti homes, Kweu homes, And I'm a proud Creole. I can say that for a fact. And as I sit here, I won't even say that I am very proud of myself because I cannot even speak the local language fluently because growing up, I was a child who didn't like to be beaten. I mean, I can count the number of times I was beaten in school. The only time teachers got to beat me was when they were beating the entire class. Why am I saying this? Our teachers teach us with English. Now, on campus, there was a law or a rule that if you speak vernacular on campus, they would hang a card around your neck, or you pay a certain fine, or you get beaten by teachers. And so because of that, I never spoke the Ghanaian language in school. At a point, I couldn't even speak the language. Children around my neighborhood wanted to play with me, but some of them were shy because they could not speak the English language, or they were not even fluent in it. So my mother had to now make a conscious effort to start teaching me the language, which is something that is happening now. And I'm sure you would agree with me when I say that children who cannot speak the local language mostly are timid when they are around children who can speak. And so even when they are intelligent in class, they cannot answer questions in class because one mistake and they are in trouble. I'll be talking to a linguistic from the University of Ghana. His name is Dr. Clement Appiah, and we'll be discussing this into details with him. But before I do that, there is a statement that was issued out by Valley View University Basic Schools with regards to the fact that they cannot even get teachers to teach Ga in schools. And so they want to stop teaching that. It's on the screen, and I read. It says here that phasing out Ga as a Ghanaian language from grade 1 to 3 pupils. We wish to inform you that the management of the basic school is gradually phasing out Ga as a Ghanaian language starting from the 2021 academic year. Now, this is due to the difficulty in getting qualified teachers to teach this subject. This unfortunate decision will affect the current pupils from basic 1 to 3 only. These classes will offer only Chi as a Ghanaian language in the school. The school will continue to offer the Chi Shoga option from basic school 4 up to basic 9. I hope you will understand and bear with us, which is sad news. This is sad. It's really sad because this is the time where children pick up languages. At this time, from grade 1 to 3, or even from when they start crawling, is when they are when they are sponges and they absorb. And this is the time that we are saying we are not going to teach them. Well, my guest is on the line. Dr. Clement Appiah is on the line, and he is a senior lecturer, Linguistic Department, School of Languages. Dr. Clement, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well and keeping safe.
Yeah, I'm doing well by God's grace.
Doctor, this morning I would say that I'm a little sad, but please, could you tell us how deep the ditch we are digging for ourselves is with regards to our children not speaking or even understanding their mother tongue?
Okay, so before I go on to that, I just want to prompt you that today is the International Mother Tongue Day, a day set apart by the UNESCO to celebrate and to encourage multilingualism with a view to helping people achieve whatever they want to achieve while using their own mother tongue. So just to prompt you.
Oh, I guess we picked a good subject on a good day.
Your voice is a bit faint.
I'm saying that I guess we picked a good subject on a good day then.
Yes. And so in terms of what we stand to lose if we didn't have children learning the languages of their parents or acquiring the language of their parents, culture is carried through language. A lot of what we are, who we are, what we believe in, what our values are carried through the language. So, simply put, if we don't have children acquiring these languages, then what we are losing, in a gist, is our culture. What we are losing is the set of values that have shaped us, the set of ideals that we hold on to as a people. So we are losing a lot. And if you put it another way, we are losing who we are. if we don't have children learning these languages and what they are meant to carry.
All right, now, Doctor, we cannot talk about effect without talking about cause, or even talk about curb without talking about the cause. What would you say, in your opinion, is the reason why we are facing this challenge at the moment?
Well, there are a number of reasons. One of them is economic. The economic reason is that people believe that, given that English is the official language, and to get a certain kind of job, you need to be able to speak English. Then, for them, it is better to speak English than any other language. So that's the economic reason. They see the economic value in having English. Now, another one is, if you like, some, negative attitude towards what we take for granted. So for some people, it is a language that everybody speaks. Everybody. So what is it that it adds to me? So it is just people just taking the language for granted. So they don't see any value in it. I mean, I've spoken, for example, the parents, I've spoken this language for a long time. What do I benefit from speaking this language? So that is there. There is also the misconception that if someone spoke the local language, then they are not going to be able to speak any other language or master the important language, which is English, which is a misconception, really, because if we look at the generation before ours, the very old people, a lot of them started school speaking or learning their native language and using it in the initial stages of education. But these people turned out to be very good speakers of any other language apart from English, even Latin, Greek, and the like. So there is this misconception that the local language may interfere with the other languages, other so-called important languages that they have to learn. So they don't give it that much attention. True. So just taking for granted what people have, and as they say, people don't value what they have unless they lose it.
True.
And that is one of the reasons. So I've given 3 of them.
Yes. Now, okay, let's talk about curbing. How do we solve this situation from the grassroots?
Okay. So if I'm to go back using the same 3 reasons that I gave for why we are where we are. The first one is economic. Indeed, there is no reason why you have to think that if you learn a local language, you won't be able to master English, for example. And it's not really true that English is the only language you need to succeed economically. Indeed, some of the people who have held our economy together are the market women, and a lot of them don't speak English. So it's not true that you need English to succeed. Indeed, we used to make a lot of fun that the place where you find market women speaking very good English is when you go to Cape Coast or Secondary, where market women will teach you proper English if you go and misbehave. Everywhere else, they speak their local language. And that is the language of trade in Ghana, if you ask me, is Akan, it's P. So you travel to the northern part of Ghana, a trader from the southern part, a Ghana, whatever, when they get there and they are struggling to speak the local language, they tend to cheat. So there is a trade language, if you like, in Ghana, which we are not giving attention to. So as far as the economic argument is concerned, there is reason for us to jettison it. It's not true that you need only English. Another thing, these days, banks and all kinds of institutions are setting up all over the country. So in addition to English, if you want to operate and really prosper in some areas of this country, you need the local languages to do that, because some of the people who will be coming there don't speak English, so you need to interact with them. And so in a number of these places, when you go, they call somebody who speaks the local language to come and speak to this person. Besides, if you knew the local language and you were an expert in it, there are jobs for people who speak English and other local language, interpreters here and there, all kinds of people interacting across the country who need to have interpretation. So even having the local language adds to the economic, if you like, of the pocket. Now, when it comes to the people not valuing their language, sometimes it's a factor of the poverty that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
When people are not so rich, they don't see what they have around them. It is when they develop a certain level, then they begin to think that, no, I'm losing something. And so when you go to a lot of European countries where they force them to speak either French or Russian or English, now they are all going back to their language. Welsh, for example, the people in Wales were forced to speak English. Now Welsh is one of those languages that people are revitalizing because they've seen the value in there. So sometimes it's also a problem with poverty and underdevelopment. When we get to that place, we get it. But people need to see. So those of us who've been to school need to see what we are losing, and then we go on.
Right.
One of the things that I didn't mention is the value of multilingualism, the ability to have the capacity to speak a lot of languages. BBC did a study some time back. I think this was between 2006 and 2010, I think, that showed that people who speak more languages actually had better brain function. They even were not suffering from a lot of these brain degeneration as some others who spoke only one language. So we should begin to see the value in having multilingualism, see that our culture needs to be maintained, see that we need to be able to allow our children to interact with their grandparents, which is something I didn't mention. So now a lot of people are struggling because their mothers in the village cannot communicate with their children because the children are speaking only English and their mothers or grandmothers are speaking only the local language. So there is a problem, a societal one that we have. Values are not being passed on. So if we see what we are losing, then we'll be able to go back to learning our local language.
Now, Doctor, before you take leave of us, because I've been told that you have a lecture this morning, in honor of today being Mother Tongue Day, my last question is going to be in the local language. Inti Mother Tongue Day, na den amoye.
Bureau of Ghana Language. Program bi amaye. Ye fe omo friend o Saneba. And it's also social media. Ubehu bibisa. Omo di UNESCO office awa Ghana ha. Ena Bureau of Ghana Languages, and me WhatsApp program no so, and then day 2:00, me colleague back also, so, and a nipa bear 9 so, nana janga painting, saki, a painting, and I janga painting, media commission, on no in your account. Ye begging, ding, near Baya, ye bebwa, ama, nipa. Kasa bi otimi kan wetimi ejina so dia aye ejuma en so betimi ejina so dia sin ade e ko bebi na se mmofa ohon sa mmofa no twi na omo kan e wo se bombodin se omo sa di sin ase a ye be di twi be trotro mo a mo nfu di omo se na ye da ni ko brofo a omo etimi ake ake en se so bi wo bebi na so on take obi ko court for not on take. But for Kata, I was saying a bombarding said to be a better the almost can walk out no more. So be called parliament. Not say the man for no one in patience in say which me a man. Now so on couple of what I was saying a bombarding say ye bet on better and some interpreters our parliament. Then if upon a bag, you won't even know person or can't much to mark for Brofo. Now the beginning so much translated and as much as the mama on so. The inclusive development. So be in Cabro Quinty on it, and the Casabo that I said, you man, so being Cabro Quinty say, yes, church, Agina, or no name on Bemocrani, dear. I was saying, somebody say, beginning in our thinking. Then the bit Nayama, Obibia, Media, and the Castor. So no what 10 again, I'm on managing the 2 point. I'm on one case a phone kind. I'm not taking a phone kind. I was saying,
Doctor, Medasibre Bracer, Uni Akasano, paying my job. Now, a mereful frono, ya besign any Wakasabium, our topic here. So, Yamin Shao, Doctor. Now, we spoke to Dr. Clement Appa, who is a lecturer at the University of, he's a senior lecturer, Linguistic Department, School of Languages. we talked about multilingual languages, and he said that according to research, if you are multilingual, it actually gives you a better brain functioning. So please, if you do not speak any other language, this is the time to be learning how to speak. This has been the social segment on the Morning Update on TVXYZ, proudly brought to you by Health Alert Clinic. Let's go Herbal.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back. This is the Morning Update on TVXYZ. It's also live on Wezo TV on Facebook and YouTube. This morning, we are doing our newspapers with the editors. As usual, every Friday we bring editors to the studio. These are well-respected editors. One of them is Elvis Darko, the Finder newspaper. Those of you who buy the Finder, I'm sure over the years we've seen the Finder as one of the well-packaged papers, very attractive. One of my friends worked with him. I'm sure you know Dela Tenge. Okay, was he with you at the time he was still active in the profession?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so Elvis Danko is one of our guests this morning. Elvis, how has been the week?
Oh, personally, it has been eventful because I had so many things to do. In fact, actually, yesterday I went to bed after 12.
After 12?
After midnight, yeah. So the week has been quite eventful for me as an individual.
I could imagine how difficult it might have been for you this morning to leave your home to our studios.
Yeah, far away from Dansuman. It's quite
Dansuman.
yeah.
We should be grateful. It's just the commitment to helping to build a state that will move people like Elvis from Dansuman all the way to our studios at Osu. He's the editor of the Finder newspaper. My second guest is Prince Derrick Adjei. He's a writer and political researcher. Prince, how are you?
I'm good. Well, coincidentally, I also live in Dansuman. I was told just this morning about 4 a.m. actually.
4 a.m.
I wasn't asleep. Fortunately for him, I normally don't sleep early. There's a lot of work to be done to put Ghana on an even keel. We're currently in a flux, and we need to do whatever it takes to make sure that the project Ghana does not sink and that it stays afloat well beyond our time.
Okay, so just before we came to this part of the show, we had a conversation with a lecturer at the School of Languages. I think the focus was on the fact that today is Mother's Day, Mother Tongue Day, and so we want to look at a few pending issues. Just recently, there was a letter that went viral about one of the schools making it public that they don't have Ghana teachers, and so they may be compelled to teach only Twi. And this issue has revived the conversation about our homes and many children we have, especially in the urban areas, in those we call middle class or privileged people, cannot speak their mother tongue. And it is becoming something that we need to address. You listened to the interview. You were here with us in the studio. What did you take out, and what perhaps has struck you?
Well, a good morning to all your viewers, particularly the chiefs of Accra, who I know are listening, because a number of them have already indicated that they were watching and wanted even copies of your interview with Dr. Park. This has been a very topical issue, not just because of the Valley View letter that went viral. But as far back as 1999, and it featured very prominently even in the election of 2000, I remember the Gadangbe Council, of which I was the youth vice president. Dr. K.B. Asante, Professor Atukwe Okain, and others wrote a document that they handed over to then candidate Kufuor, called the burning issues. And that was one of the major issues. It had to deal with the lands, it had to deal with the language, the culture, the heritage of the Gadangbe people, the Songo Lagoon that's been taken away, and all that. And I think that these issues all crystallize into one major issue that confronts not just the people of the capital city, but in fact, it goes across the world. I mean, the issue of the United Kingdom was highlighted by Dr. Park, and I believe that it happens in other jurisdictions. One of the major challenges of the Gadangbe people has been their language. In fact, I wanted to query your beautiful young lady for speaking too much Twi when the issue was about Ga, but she tossed in one Ga word, so I'd forgive her on that.
It also tells you about the cosmopolitan nature of Accra, and which could likely affect the concern you are raising, because there are many people in here who came from all parts of the country.
True, but I don't think that is the issue, really. The issue has been partly state irresponsibility. And when I say the state has a responsibility to all the people in the country. And you discriminate favorably towards all your people depending on the degrees to which they have challenges. For example, affirmative action for the girl child and so on were done to favorably discriminate and ensure that we have parity in terms of women in education, women in politics, women in... The same thing should apply to the Ga people. In fact, if you look at the media houses in Accra, how many of them speak the Ga language? 0. In fact, I remember the Gadangbe Council had to mobilize resources and equipment for the setting up of Obonu FM for GBC, which is a state broadcaster. The state should have been the one leading the charge. In fact, what is Obonu doing today? See, so I think that it is not a matter of cosmopolitan whatever. I think also that the Ghana Education Service has a policy which is in contrast to what is unfolding. There's a policy for P1 to 3, where the local language of the area in whichever school is situated is supposed to be a medium of instruction. So the Ghana Education Service must be telling Ghanaians today, not the chiefs, not the people. We pay our taxes, we do, and we actually vote for people to also man these institutions. The Ghana Education Service is under a ministry, and there's a political authority that's in charge. And this is not at the doorstep of MPP. It's at the doorstep of the government of Ghana, whoever is in charge. Because this thing has been there forever, and it's been nagging at us, and it will come one day to bite us in a very big way. Because when you marginalize the people, when you take their lands, you take their language, you take their culture, you take their heritage, eventually what you've done is genocide. And it's a very serious crime against humanity. And if one day we don't end up in the international, courts, there might be civil strife, which is all uncalled for. So the government of Ghana must take it seriously. Either they uphold the policy or repeal it.
I think the conversation is beyond Ghana or Accra.
True.
Because if I live in Accra and I am an Ewe, I don't see why I should be, my preoccupation should be to force my children to speak Ga. What we are doing is to look at the picture at the national level, where we have people who are not really appreciating the need to speak the local language. I'll come to you again.
Can I just wrap up on that before? There's a challenge, and I choose to lace it to the government of the Ghanaian people. Now, reason being that beyond the policy of P1 to 3, which is actually at play today, there's also the issue of training of teachers, because you need qualified teachers to teach the language. So you have Ga teachers, you have Twi teachers, you have all other teachers. And these teacher training institutions must know the quotas that are required and therefore admit people in sufficient numbers. Then there's the issue of transfer. And I recall, Nana Kumia was actually being sarcastic when I raised the issue when they were discussing it on Metro TV one of the days. That has been whatever. Now, you see, there is a deliberate policy, and it has been there for a long time, of posting Ga teachers outside of the region. Now, so if they are not available, then you have the shortage, and then you have the issue that the Valley View is talking about.
So I'll come back to you because it's quite a broad conversation. But Elvis, first of all, this TVXYZ, Wazor TV, a lot of people may be interested, and those who are watching us can also join us by sending us your text messages 0556 999 999 0556 999 999. The issue language always correlates with culture. Elvis.
Yeah, the issue of our local languages, I believe that the Ghana people feel inundated because we are in the capital and various ethnic groups have migrated here. And it appears that the various ethnic groups that have migrated here seems to be interested in their language rather than where they reside. And I think that we have to critically take a look at this issue. The problem of language, our local language in this country, is one that will be difficult to address in the sense that pupils and students are supposed to write examinations in English. And every subject they write, apart from the local language, even mathematics, science, everything, the questions are in English. And when we live in a society where we believe that children need to pass their exams very well to be able to proceed, then it's incumbent that the child understands the English language very well in order to be able to appreciate what is being taught in all the other subjects. Therefore, every home wants their children to be able to speak the English very well and understand it well. That becomes the issue, and therefore every home now focuses on how the children can speak English. Truth of the matter is, even many ethnic groups that are in Accra here, if you go to their homes, many hardly speak their local languages. They speak English with their kids at home because they believe that continuous speaking of English with their kids will enable them to grasp the language better. And therefore, even in their own homes, their local languages are missing. So I think that, and so far as examinations in Ghana will remain to be set and written in English, every family will prioritize the study of English. And once that happens, it actually makes it not important for many people to think about any local language as an option. And as you rightly said, the population of Accra now, the ethnic groups that have immigrated there, in total, far exceeds the population of Gans here. And if an Akan and ever a Dagbani finds itself on Accra land, and they say the kids should learn Gan, and it becomes a problem at the home because maybe the parents also wish that that kid learns the local language from the ethnic group at home because the child will definitely be learning English at school. And therefore, even that child should bring homework at home, which is in Gan. The parents can't even help that child because they don't speak Gan as parents. So I believe that it's a big challenge in this country now. So long as we don't have one national language and our educational system, everything that we do in the educational system is purely English. We may be teaching the local languages per region, but then it becomes difficult for many homes to say, I am in Accra, I am an Ewe, and then I want my child to be able to speak Ewe at home. Then at the same time, I want that child to also be able to speak Gan at the same time because it should be forced to learn Gan at school from primary 1 to primary 3. So I think that we have to take a critical look at some of these issues. Though the GS policy that has been there says this, the question is, have we done any evaluation to see the impact of that policy so far and decide whether we should continue or there's a need for change? And I think that if you look at it critically now, it's obvious that that policy by the GES may need a second look at. You post a teacher from an Akan speaking community to the Volta region. How is that teacher going to be able to teach the children? Because
and even beyond that, let me share something with you. Somebody called me from Upper East region, and he says that there are teachers who were recently posted there, and he's not alone. And he doesn't understand the dialect in the region where he has been posted, let alone the community where he is. And he says that he goes to the classroom, and because he cannot speak the language, the only medium he has to use is English. And the children don't understand English. So he goes to class and he has nothing to do. He has reported to the GES and there's no action taken. So you look at it and you realize that even beyond just speaking to people in your area, which has become a difficulty, we are also getting teachers who are sent out there and they don't know the medium to use.
Yes.
This brings to the table the issue about the relations with culture, because we preach patriotism. We preach that people should live and love Ghana and do everything Ghana. No. But there's a psychological effect where you have the middle class and then those a little beyond whom have made it mandatory that, look, don't speak any language to my children except English. But these are the children who are privileged, who get the best schools, who come out with the best grades possibly, and may occupy the positions in future. And if the orientation is not towards Ghana, then we have a bigger problem, as the lecturer put it. Elvis.
Yeah, that will be the issue. As I said, so long as we make English the medium of communication in our schools, and it is the understanding of that language that enables you to pass your examination, it becomes very difficult. As you cited, you posted somebody to a reading where the person does not understand a word of that language. What is the person supposed to do as a teacher? So that's why you see there's a program that we were trying to pilot where these assemblies are encouraged to recruit indigenes, support them to go to finance their education at the training level, and then when they complete, they are bound to come and serve.
I think some MPs even adopted this as a
policy. I think that if we want these things to work, then we should begin to look at that policy. Maybe that policy would have been the solution that, look, instead of the person going to teacher training or paying his or her own fees, and after that is at liberty to decide where he or she should be posted, we should just make it mandatory that everybody that is coming from a district should have a letter from the assembly that I'm being sponsored by the assembly to come to the training college, and that when I am done, I'm going back to serving my community. Then we'll have the people to stay. But if you transfer a teacher from here to another region, he moves with his or her family to the place, and he doesn't understand a single word of that language, it becomes a problem. And you see, you talk about the student from the elite school. The only difference is that they are able to grasp understanding of questions so they can answer, because they are used to the English language, and grammar. Language is about grammar. So once you can get the understanding of the language, it's easy to answer questions. My office, my accountant is called Elias Annan, and he told me that, look, this is your English. People can speak all the English, but he grasps a better understanding of maths because his teacher, all the way up to the second level, taught them mathematics in Akan. He is from Ashanti region. They learn the mathematics in the local language, even all the way to the secondary level. So for him, he doesn't need to understand English language. He understood the concepts of mathematics from the local language. So when he sees the question, he only applies the understanding, and he believes that has been the reason he is good in mathematics. So maybe we need to critically look at some of these things. That if the so-called students from elite, that's why when students from poorer schools make it to the tertiary level or even secondary level, and they meet the student from the elite school, you will see a student who has a very poor grade to say from a very deprived community, but the moment they have access to the same facilities, you see that student performing, and sometimes they even beat the kids from the elite schools, because now they have access to same facilities, and now his or her understanding of the English language has become better, and therefore can apply.
Somebody will say they have a level playing field.
So they can apply.
Now let me come to you. Maybe perhaps your comment will end this conversation. At the policy level, should we be reviewing how we relate to ourselves in terms of our work? You go to Parliament, and when an MP decides that I want to speak local language, the person becomes a laughing stock. Yeah. There was an example. On at the vetting committee yesterday, where I saw on social media commentaries that Hawa Kumsin cannot speak good English, and we are proud of it. If Hawa Kumsin perhaps was not able to speak, let's say, Gan or Chi, I don't think it will be a problem for people to be laughing about on social media.
Yeah.
Now, if we decide to encourage the use of local language, and then we have facilities that can interpret it, like we go to international conferences, in Parliament, for example, will it be a conduit to encourage people to see that, look, we should be proud of it and let's use it?
Very well. I think that you're spot on. There was another Amase, who also said by February she will be flowing. Her English was terrible and she became the laughing stock. I think that first and foremost, our educational system of, as Elvis put it, virtually exams-based learning because of an exam and not rather being skewed towards what you can deliver towards the development of our country must change. There should be a paradigm shift. He also made allusions to an Ashanti accountant who was taught in the fundamentals. It means that it is possible to teach people in the local language for them to grasp the concepts and also for them to be able to interact with their first, second, third generations of family and also to properly integrate into society. At the same time, for the heritage and the culture of the people to be maintained. If it is possible in Ashanti, it is possible in Everland. It is possible in Dagombaland, and it is possible in Accra. Now, I am a Ghana. I come from La. My dad is a Jasiche. That is what makes me Ghanaian. In fact, my heritage also goes to Efutu, where I can be chief. My father's mother is a Gate. My wife is a Dagomba. What is my child? She's Ghanaian. So I speak very fluent Twi. In fact, before I went to Tech, before I even left Accra for the very first time, I speak very fluent Twi, I speak very fluent Fanti, I speak Ga, and I speak very good English. Now, you see, it is possible for everybody to be multilingual. In fact, I'm told that multilinguals have brain power that should be whatever. So I'm grateful to Dr. Park for that new study. And I encourage all Ghanaians to have greater brain power. But you speak to some people and they tell you they will not speak that language. They do not respect you. If I don't respect you, I don't want to speak your language. That is a serious aberration and a fact that we must deal with as a country. We must respect each other. In fact, the beauty of Ghana lies more in our diversity. And I always liken it to the kente cloth. The kente cloth, if it was just plain white, would not be beautiful. If it was red and all those colors, but not intricately woven, it would not be what it is. And so we should see the best in every culture and admire the good in every tribe and try to assimilate and become the Project Ghana that was envisioned by
Kwame Nkrumah. Elvis, I think it's also important to maybe put this to you as part of the wrapping up on this topic. We have several languages in Ghana, several languages, and we have not deliberately decided as a people. I think about 49 languages we have in this country. Should we be thinking of a common one or two as a national language? Because if you go to many countries that are doing well, there's a school of thought that because they have indigenized what they do, it is able to tap the best brains and they are doing what they do. The other one is stigmatization. You know, when we go to the universities, those who go to do linguistics and so on, they become the people many people assume are not intelligent. And so people shy away from these areas. How do we address these two?
Yeah, I have said when I was a kid, almost every region, you see writers writing in the local language. And there are books that you read and they're in the local language. But for the past 10 years, I hardly see any kid having any literature in the local language. Everything is English. The question is, if it was possible in the past, why is it not possible now? How many homes will you go to today that, this home, because they are where you see literature for maybe primary 1 to 6, even if it's not studied in school, but the kids can come home, pick the book, try reading, and their parents will guide them. You will not find even the literature, even in the bookshops that we are selling. Then I ask myself, then how do we think that the language should not vanish? Because the basics is reading. And in the past, we have actually made the effort to write books in every language. Simple poems, simple stories, and then it becomes a basis for you to learn what's the meaning of this word in your language and all that. But now, all those things are missing, obviously, from our landscape in education or at homes. So I think that even though we are multilingual, we have been multilingual for generations. So if it was possible some time ago that various languages had literature, books written for kids to reading, I think that we must revisit that. If I have the books at home, and even if they are not studying in school, and at my free time I can take my kids through and teach them, I believe that even with the computer now, they can find a lot of things on the internet and can continue learning. The last time I managed to find the Ewe hymn book, the EP Church Ewe hymn book on the internet, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know this thing existed. So I think that with the emergence of technology, There are things that we can do, even if the educational system is failing us, we can do. In terms of the stigmatization, in terms of language, you see, the problem we have in this country is that if you are able to rattle English, people think that that means intelligence or knowledge. We are unable to differentiate between wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge in this country. We box all together to mean your ability to speak good English. But I have read on the internet about highly and extremely successful people who are least educated. So we equate success and ability to do things to our ability to acquire degrees. But it is completely wrong. And we need to change that mindset in the educational system. If you know the importance of language, if someone has gone to study linguistics in a school, you will never underestimate it. Travel, go to China, you are living in the bush. Yes. Because whatever they are saying,
most of the time,
you don't understand what they are saying. But you see a black person who has studied the Chinese language communicating with the Chinese, then you are surprised, how is this guy able to do it? So you see, we need to, you see, in Africa, we have been, because of colonization, we've been made to believe that if you're able to rattle English, it means you are intelligent, it means you are best, it means you know everything. That mentality needs to change, and we must begin to change the landscape. I remember when the local language radio station and TV station, people were laughing at them. Who is going to listen to a local language radio station or TV
even
station?
In newsrooms, there was a time when people thought that we are working for the same group of companies. And so there's one leg which does programming in the local language. And people tend to believe that those who are on the side of English
they are not intelligent. They are better than those who are on the local
which
language.
is very funny.
Because of the mentality you have been given that if you have a degree, it means you are better than somebody
I like the way you said degree.
Yeah, the paper.
That's what they work about.
But I always tell the paper that if you attach your degree, in my newsroom, that's what I tell people. You bring your first class, attach the computer for 30 minutes, take it out. Has it written any story? They said no. So I said, see, the knowledge is what you are able to do. It's not the paper that has been certified that you have a first class. That is irrelevant. If you can't put it into application, the first class is useless.
So I'm asking, what is your own view on this? 0556999999. That's WhatsApp only. I don't know whether we should blame the GES or you should blame yourself in your home, because I believe that many of you listening to me are not doing the right thing, and the consequences could be grave. We are moving on to another topic. I'm doing this with Elvis Dako, who is the editor of the Finder newspaper, and Prince Derek J is a writer and researcher. Prince, let's look at other issues. I would put it this way, because we are editors and that's what we do, we ask ourselves, what are the issues you pick for the week? A lot are happening. So Elvis just ended. So what are your topics or picks for the week?
Well, you've done one of the biggest ones that I would have picked, that is moving Project Ghana forward together. And through the Value View conversation, I think I want to commend you for that one. I know Elvis will be looking at the Supreme Court because he's hoping that, I've seen your front page, and he's hoping that Ayeni and Co will be dragged for contempt. So I'll leave that one for him. And rather and choose the vetting and the LGBT.
And there's another issue.
Let me qualify it. The LGBT stupidity that has been allowed into this country.
And then the other one I know you were having a discussion with me on was the planned picketing around the Supreme Court and so on. So let's start with yours.
Okay.
LGBTQ, the issue about vetting. Which one should we start with? Maybe vetting will be appropriate now.
Actually, I'll box it because it was an issue that came up during the vetting, and I believe Adwa Safo,
and then Kojo Nkrumah has also called for national consensus on it.
He wants it to happen?
He says national consensus.
No, consensus
on the
means that
law we need to put together that will address the issue.
I think this is a non-issue that should not be a part of our conversation going forward. We cannot keep talking about one thing. We must be doing things and moving on. There are bigger problems confronting us than to be always going to people's bedrooms to see what they are doing. Honestly, the law is clear. It is illegal, and that should end it. And the state must take a very proactive stance on it to outlaw it. In fact, this morning, I've heard some concerned clergy finally speaking to the issue and asking that office must be removed, and they've taken on the EU. I'm surprised the president hasn't spoken. I don't know whether he's in quarantine or something. But if he is not, he must speak to the issue. He's the one who's invited them. He had the opportunity to say that we will not countenance this. He said it was what? Bound to happen. So now it's happening. And he's quiet. He's the president of the country until at least the Supreme Court says so. He's not. And I hope they say he's not. But until they say he is not, he must speak to the issue. We had during the construction of his priority of priorities, the National Cathedral, that during the fundraising, the LGBTQ, and then there's an I. What's that one?
I'll find it.
Interqueer, they are in between. I mean, every day they are inventing new things. What kind of thing is this? They contributed to the fundraising of the National Cathedral, and they accepted the money.
Are you sure?
Yes, the question was put more than once to Archbishop Duncan Williams, who was in charge of the fundraising. He did not deny it. He declined to deny. What does that mean? He should have said no, they did not. And that should have, you see, look, this country must get serious. Why would you go and accept money from these people and then when they come, you are not doing anything, you go into hiding? Who are you fooling? If you want it, you want it. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah speaks for who? The president. So we can take his word as that of the president because he is currently the president's representative at the Ministry of Information. Therefore, anything he turns out, unless he says he's speaking in his personal capacity, belongs to the president. So the president's thinking today, authoritatively, would be that the state's policy is to encourage a conversation and a consensus and to live with them.
Is it not because when you talk to lawyers, they create the impression that there's some ambiguity in our law and its implementation?
It's not about ambiguity.
Maybe difficult.
It's not about ambiguity. Remember the CSE, the comprehensive sexuality education. Who brought it? Was it the lawyers or the constitution? Wasn't it the government of Ghana? President Akufo-Addo brought that thing.
But it has been shelved.
It has been shelved because Ghanaians shut it down. They tried, they passed left, we block it, they pass right, we block it. This thing must not happen. Why do you want to introduce our children to these things? That look, today you can decide in the morning that you're a boy. By afternoon you can decide you're a girl. And then in the evening you can decide you're none of the above.
Intersex, the I am told is intersex.
Yeah, that's none of them. So you can now even decide to go to the washroom and doesn't matter what sign is on. If you are found in the ladies' room, you say, oh, I am a girl. I mean, what is this? Look, Charlie, how did the person who is promoting this, how did the person come into the world? Wasn't it procreation by a man and a woman? So two women, what are they going to do?
I'll come to you again, but let me take the opening remarks of from Elvis on this, and then maybe the debate can continue. Elvis, your opening remarks on this conversation that seems to be coming, especially anytime there's a new government, then it pops up.
Yeah, but I think what I read about Kojo Oppong Nkrumah is not about any cons. He is saying that we should tighten the laws against advocacy, which promotes the agenda. That's what I heard him say. He is calling for a law that will ban anybody that is into advocacy for that thing to be entitled. You see, these people are very rich people globally, and they are using their money to promote the agenda. We are a country, and I've said that the culture I was brought up in made me believe, that is my culture, says that thing is a taboo, it's evil, it's not supposed to be done. If you are a religious person, yes, religion is against it. And therefore, if our culture, our beliefs, systems are against it, obviously as a country, we must be bold to be able to tell people that this thing should not happen. The problem in this thing that we see, and we must all admit, is that because we go to these countries for loans, they are able to tie some of these conditions to the loans they give us. And whether we like it or not, these are things that you need to be able to say we will not do or will not do. It didn't start today. It has been a hidden agenda for some. But I think it was President Nelson's time that it openly confronted us as a country, that some countries threaten us with loans. If we don't accept it, they will not give it. Then President Nelson was bold enough to say, if that is the condition, then they should take their money.
Which was very insightful.
A bold decision he took.
Have we missed that sense at the leadership level?
At that time, I think the only two people I've heard as presidents, even in the whole of Africa, was President Nelson and Robert Mugabe, who were the ones that could openly tell the Western countries that you can't, we are against this thing. the issue is simple. You see, during the tenure of Donald Trump, despite all his weaknesses, this is one of the things he doesn't tolerate. So you remember that you never heard of this thing during Trump's era, because he's somebody who said this thing should not be tolerated. So no country was compelled to do this. And as you said, rightly said, you realize that there's a change in the world order. America be the police of the world. Once there is a change, one of the first messages Biden delivered was that every country that every country that is not legalized this LGBTQ thing, one, they can decide not to grant you visa to come to their country. Two, they will not consider if you need loans or any help from them. And this is the Biden who is less than a month in office, and these are the signals he's sending out there. And therefore, these people who are engaged in some of these things in various countries have been emboldened to begin to start act, because they realize that the superpower of the world is speaking for them and that they have to do it. And I think that, you see, politically, we should all admit that it's not easy for leaders to condemn these things, because it has implications when they go out there begging for money, because we have made ourselves
we are trading our culture for money.
That is exactly. But we have traded our lives for money for so many things.
No, but yes, but where is our position?
So,
that is the issue.
Yeah, that is where I'm coming to. That is why we have a parliament. For me as a person, the legislature should be able to help us with a law that clearly states, as Fuamonin will always say, we need laws that will categorically say that we are banning this thing completely, because you rightly said, the lawyers in this country will always tell you that apart from homosexuality, which is on natural carnal knowledge, which is between man and man, the others, woman to woman and all the others, there's no specific mention in any of our laws. And the lawyers will tell you that what is not written in the law and punishment prescribed, you cannot say it is what? It is illegal. And therefore, they are taking advantage of some of these things. And I have said that, you see, these countries from the Western world, what they fear is the people's power. If this country, people can mass up to the EU office, to the US Embassy, Canadian High Commission, huge numbers,
Australian High
Commission, in huge numbers, and tell them that you better stop this in our country or we will ask you to leave. I think that the people's power puts more fear in these Western countries than governments, because they know that for governments, our hands are in their mouth. So our leaders coming to negotiate for loans and all that, they can't do anything. Coronavirus is here. We are begging that richer countries should donate money to COVAX to go and buy vaccines so that we'll get some free or we'll get it at a cheaper rate. And they tell you that the money you're asking them to do those things, part of the taxes are paid by this group of people in their countries. So if you not accept them, then don't also come and ask them for any help. And we have become countries, though we are very rich in whatever God has endowed us with, we have decided to be poor and think that we have to rely on other people for support. So long as our hands are in their mouth, they will use all kinds of conditions to be able to tie our hands behind us. Truly, there are several African countries that have already legalized this in their countries because they have gone to these countries for loans and support. And they tie it to their conditions that if you don't do this, we are not going to allow. So it didn't come as a surprise when the Australian High Commissioner says that they had gone to open an office. But I believe that should not, if we as a country believe that by our culture, this is infringing on our culture, our tradition, our religion and everything, I think that we should be able to tell them that, look, when people decide to do something in their bedroom, nobody cares. But to openly be promoting that thing in the society that says that their culture is against it, is an offense and that they shouldn't do it. I think that is the position we should take. I am not going to beat anybody because you are gay. If I know you are gay or lesbian, I can personally distance myself from you. But I'm not going to attack you. But to open an office, the danger is that you'll be sitting home, your daughter and your son will come home one day and say, Daddy, I went to town, I listened to a message that they say this thing is not illegal, so now I am this. And you as a parent, you're just sitting there helpless. So, and I don't think that should be allowed.
So going forward, how do we send a strong signal? Because we have a way to relate to the diplomatic community. The diplomatic community obviously know what our law says because we have discussed this over the years. But if they can openly slap us in the face with what the EU, the Australian High Commission and so on have done, how should government be seen to be communicating to them to send a strong signal that will perhaps give us some satisfaction that the issue is being addressed head on?
I think that fortunately for us, at least until the Supreme Court says otherwise, we've had a president continuously for more than 4 years. So it's not like Biden just came a month and a half ago. Akufo-Addo has been at the Jubilee House for 4 years and 2 months. He is the president of Ghana until the Supreme Court says otherwise. He should send a signal. He's the top diplomat of this country. He's been foreign minister, so he doesn't need to rely even on the fact that he doesn't have a foreign minister at this time. He knows what to do. He's the one who was questioned, and he's the one who said it was bound to happen. He must tell them, look them in the eye and say, it's not happening under my watch. Now, EU, either you rescind what you've done or we close your offices. Whoever else wants to follow you out of this country, you can go. But unfortunately, he can't. He's borrowed and borrowed, like my brother said. It's all about the borrowing. Borrowed us into HIPIC and beyond HIPIC. Now we are highly debt distressed, highly indebted country.
So you are obviously, indirectly, you are also saying it's bound to happen.
No, I'm not saying that. You see, we must think outside the box and do things a lot differently. Even with this COVID thing, the monies that we collected from the World Bank, from the IMF, from our stabilization fund, from all over, it's been blown. So Akufo just came and said the coffers are empty and that even the warehouses are empty. So she's returned the warehouses to the military. We've mismanaged everything. It's about management. Look, the beaches that have been closed, I think it's a big sin against us as a people in terms of even the COVID management. We are being told by science, and always they talk about science and data, lies. I mean, please, let's face facts. If we deal with the truth, we will not have a problem in this country.
Okay,
the truth is very simple.
Right.
If we distance ourselves, and the beaches are large, the sun is there, it allows you to even utilize vitamins if you eat well.
I don't think people have been banned from going to the beach.
That's what I'm saying. That the state,
reveling.
No, you see, it's not about reveling. I'm saying that the state must reorganize things to the point where it says, for example, look, we've taken over the beaches. The military has taken over the beaches for a certain duration. We are going to use them as curing centers, just like you take over a stadium and use it as vaccination centers and so on, or as COVID, centers for curing people who are sick. What have we done? We have only 34 beds when we have other opportunities. Okay, we are not thinking straight, and that is what the problem is.
Right. So, Elvis, what is your topic for the week?
No, this LGBT thing and probably what happened at the vetting.
Oh, you've left the Supreme Court.
Oh, what? The Supreme Court is a running story that will continue.
Okay, then I'll take the Supreme Court because I thought he was taking that.
So for me, the Supreme Court issue is a running story that every day there's something coming out. But if something comes up completely new in a week, for me, it's more of an issue than the Supreme Court ruling. That's why this LGBT thing, to me, is one issue that we should all talk about and find a way of dealing with it. As I said, I'm not going to urge anybody to go and beat anybody because you know or suspect the person is into that kind of thing. But openly advertising it, I think that one is an affront to our culture, our tradition, norms, and our beliefs. And for that, we should not entertain. But what people do in their private rooms is their choice. We all do some things that is not up to public domain, and that is fine. But so long as you want to boldly decide that you are going out there to advertise, I think that one
is not a compromised position, because if it is wrong, it's wrong. But if you cannot say you can do it inside, and because I can't see it, you are free to do it. If it is wrong, society must be seen to be speaking to it, and we stop it, whether in your bedroom or outside your bedroom.
Yes, but wrong is wrong. Armed robbery is wrong. So many crime, corruption, and everything is wrong. But people are engaged into it in secret places.
Okay,
that is how now life is about. But nobody will say because people are doing corruption secretly, if somebody should go and open an office and say, as for me, I think corruption is good, so I'm promoting it. That one we will not countenance that. So that is the issue.
Okay, now let's move on to other issues. The vetting. I am not aware syndrome and half-baked responses and what people perceive as trying to use the platform to score political points and so on. We've witnessed proceedings, and there are key issues about ministers appearing and saying that they are not aware or being cheeky and so on and so forth. Yesterday, Hawa Kumsin, for example, was there, and the conversation is that because she perhaps didn't demonstrate her full knowledge or some understanding of the sector, she must be thrown out. I don't know which of the people who have appeared so far will be of interest. The question I was trying to drive at was, okay, a lot of people have appeared.
We are in Texas.
A lot of people have appeared. And so you choose any of the issues that so that we just lump them.
Okay.
Okay. And so as it is now, what would you say stands out from the vetting process so far? Elvis?
Oh, I think some of the ministers have demonstrated that they understand.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check. Emission, check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks. Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
AutoChecks.
AutoChecks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, AutoChecks.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia edia tre medjuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre mi yebusia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account, and it does all savings account. Me bada chain savings account. And then the keka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Now one so what to me aka say.
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crash.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check. Emission, check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars.
We are back, and sorry for the technical challenge we just had. And so we'll just extend the conversation by just a few more minutes. Elvis, you were on the floor. It looks like this conversation on LGBTQI, as they said it, is taking much of our conversation, which is of interest to everybody. Now, the issue was, how do we conclude this chapter?
Oh, the only thing we need to do is to push a law that makes it categorically clear that as a country, we will not entertain these things. The Western world are so powerful, but they are not able to push this agenda in Islamic countries because they know that Islamic countries are completely opposed to it. So you cannot force any Islamic country to say, try and legalize it. They are not able to go openly as they are doing in Ghana. If they can do it based on their religion, why can't we do it also on our culture? And says our culture about this thing, and therefore completely we also don't want it. I think that, as I said, most of the time in issues like the government's hands are tight because governments look at their finances and realizes that we need the support of the EU, we need the support of the US, we need the support of Canada. So they are it's a bit difficult for them to do some of these things. But if the people mass up and says, look, once it's official that these people are the one who did it, this is your last warning, you do it again, we are driving you out of our country. Once the government has the people behind them through an action, it empowers them to be able to make certain decisions. But so long as you are in a situation where you realize that part of your budget is financed by the donor community, a lot of things you need to go to them for money, you definitely will not be able to speak boldly. And as you talk,
will name and shame, maybe yes or no, so that I can come to you.
Name and shame it will solve the problem.
I'm asking this because we know that they are lobbying a lot of journalists like you and I. Okay. They are lobbying lawyers. They are even lobbying pastors and NGOs.
If you are on some media platforms, you are discussing, and people are defending the thing that it is not illegal on WhatsApp, on social media platforms, and colleagues you think should be saying, this thing offends our culture. Openly tell that the thing is not illegal because there's no law specifically against all the others apart from homosexuality. So for me, I don't think that if you go and name that person, that this person is defending the thing, it's even an issue too. The person is ready to defend it openly. But if we're able to pass a law through Parliament, as the Moses Family Group is all campaigning for that, look, all we need is to tighten our laws and say it is categorical here that our culture says we don't entertain this. So that's it. Once the law is categorical,
if government is not moving because of obvious challenge we have just spoken about, can somebody in Parliament move a private motions bill, especially when we know they are lobbying all people, including MPs, as we speak?
Well, the private member's motion is predicated on the fact that it should not be at any cost to the state. And already there's a potential loss of revenue from what my brother is saying. I mean, the country is broke, and that is why it is even susceptible to these things. The best way is for the executive to bring the bill forward, and the president is the initiator, and so he should do that. I know it won't happen. Not that I'm not talking about the bound to happen part. I know he will not initiate it, and I'm saying this because in 2007, if you remember, there was one of the biggest lobbies attempts, and that was during President Kufuor's tenure. And the person who was leading it as their lawyer was Gabi Asare Ochedaku. Today, Gabi Asare Ochedaku happens to be one of the most powerful people in President Akufo-Addo's cabinet, even not the most powerful. And so if he has not changed his mind, I don't think his uncle or whatever will bring any such bill. I am thinking that Ghanaians should put pressure on the president to speak. Once he speaks and we know his mind, we'll know what he will do.
Okay, now let's move on to other issues. The Supreme Court, obviously, we know the ins and outs, but there's another leg to what is happening at the Supreme Court with regards to a petition or a notice to the police by one Elikem Kotoko to picket at the premises of the EC headquarters, the Jubilee House, the Supreme Court, because in his opinion, the EC chair has taken some decisions which has put this nation in crisis. I know you are party to that conversation. Can you walk us through what really is informing this and whether it will make any impact?
Well, very well. This is not one leg to the petition that is currently underway. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the petition that's currently underway. In fact, this one started way back in June 2020, and there's a letter from our lawyers, that's the lawyers of the petitioners, lawyer Chris Akume. He signed a letter dated 4th of June 2020, which was served on Jane Adukwe Mensah. It was addressed to her, and the copies were to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship Chief Justice, Chairman, Council of State, National House of Chiefs, the Secretary to the President, and so on. Now, the idea was to raise about 10 or 12 questions to Jane Adukwe Mensah to answer. And if she did answer those questions, then she'll be free of any possible Article 146 petition. In fact, she refused June, July, August, September, October, November, December. She did not respond. She did not. And the issues were about gross incompetence on her part, one of them, the issues that had been leveled against her. There was the issue of endangering Ghanaian lives through the organization of the, the registration exercise.
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID, and COVID has shot up. There's the issue of perjury before the Special Budget Committee by her, which was leveled against her by some parliamentarians. There's the issue of the defiance of the protocols, the COVID protocols. There were procurement breaches that CSOs, various CSOs, including Imani, had leveled against her with some amount of evidence on the procurement of BVDs and BVRs and so on. There was the issue of conflict of interest. There was the issue of collusion between her and the NPP, because most times NPP would indicate what the EC is going to do ahead of them doing, and they come and do exactly that. There's insincerity, disregard for even...
So the list will be tall. Obviously, you identified 10.
Yes.
What do you think this picketing will achieve at this
time?
Because I read a statement which said 25 at each of the locations for 3 days or so.
I went through this because the history is important, that it's not something that started after the elections. In fact, one of the key things was that about even the security, election security, was on the back of the Ayawaso West Wagon, and even the perjury that she committed before the committee. It was clear that this one was recalcitrant. We all saw the armed marksmen. She said there were no armed marksmen. And we are hoping that there will be no military involvement or any paramilitary or even armed persons at any polling station or in the course of the 2020 elections. The Election Security Committee was formed. The IGP and the EC assured us that there will be none. Indeed, there were several. I was at the Ablekuma West Constituency Coalition Center as polling agent for John Mahama. There were soldiers in the hall, armed to the teeth, the entire duration of the 2 days that we were there. And there were policemen outside. What control does she have on the deployment of armed security men? She is at the head IGP, of the election security. On that time? You see, election security is under the Electoral Commission.
And not the IGP?
No, the IGP chairs the Electoral Security Committee because it is supposed to be made up of police and other such agencies who will work to the police. And they categorically, two of them categorically told us there will be no military. But there was military. Indeed, we all saw the videos. I personally saw them physically in the Ablekuma West Coalition Center. We saw what happened in Techiman. We saw what happened in Ablekuma Central. People were shot. People have died.
So because of this, Akufo-Addo should remove her from office?
No, I'm saying that she was given an opportunity to address these issues for 6 months. She did not. Failure to do so, and then having gone ahead to allow some of these things to even go to the point of people dying, she has no reason to be in office. And so a new petition on the was sent to the president on the 1 second, the date is here.
So I'm in the studio with Prince Derrick Adjei, is a writer and a researcher. Elvis Dako is the editor of the Finder newspaper. Go ahead.
20th January, a hand delivery
2021
was attempted at the Jubilee House and was refused. So we sent a copy of the thing through EMS, registered mail, and was delivered by the Ghana Post. And then on the 21st morning, a hand delivery was effected and was stamped. 21st to now is how many months? About a month. Nothing from the presidency in terms of official communication, in terms of acknowledgement, nor to the Ghanaian people in terms of what the status of the thing is. Recall, this is not the first time that there has been such a petition. This same president, Akufo-Addo, had the opportunity to remove an EC chairperson, a lady, a lawyer, just like a lady lawyer is opposed today. So the parameters are the same. So you would expect that Eugene Ahin, who was detailed to, in 5 minutes, notify Ghanaians that have received, the president has received, in 10 minutes, a press conference, in 1 hour, there's changes being made to the whole thing, to even delete names of ghosts who were on that petition. This one, there are no ghosts on it, there are no errors on it. And so you would expect that as lawyer Yao Opong, who we now know to be one of the lawyers of the president, said back then that the president is only a conveyor belt in such matters, and that he's just supposed to convey this to the Chief Justice for action. We would expect that it has happened.
So the picketing or protest is because of the discrimination?
To draw attention. I mean, special events are organized as part of the freedom of expression under the Constitution of Ghana.
Okay,
so,
I'll come back to you,
yes.
how do you call it, Prince. Elvis, I'm sure he's made some point, and he's referencing reasons why they intend to picket from next week. Do you think that it is necessary at this time?
Oh, for us, a country, a democratic institution, if people have a reason to picket, they have a reason to picket, they will picket. And it is their democratic right. It has to happen. There shouldn't be any violence. Once you do it in a peaceful manner, it's your right. And that is why we say we are practicing democracy. So if people want to demonstrate, I'm not sure that there's anything that, apart from probably COVID, and for which reason they are saying that they are looking at 25 people at a location. Their safety and health is also important. You don't go demonstrating for something and end up having COVID. I've said that COVID has spread in many Western countries because of demonstrations. People went to demonstrate against masks and they ended up dying of COVID. In the US, because of Black Lives Movement, there were a lot of demo during the COVID and it ended up escalating. So if people want to demonstrate over issues that they are convinced that something has gone wrong, I'm not the one who will say that people shouldn't go on demonstration. Yes, you're right. Press forward and continue because you believe in it. And that is what we should be as a people. If you believe in something, fight for it and see whether you get results. For me, that is important. So for me, I don't have much to say about...
so now let's go back to the vetting issues.
Can I wrap on that? Because the police has attempted to refuse and actually written, the police commander has written to refuse as picketing, and we've written to him that he has no such right to refusal. And if he likes, he can go to court. And
but the law is clear that you're only supposed to inform them.
Yes.
And you are not supposed to, they are not supposed to give you permission.
Exactly.
If they did not give you the go ahead and you go and do it, if anything happens, then they can hold you responsible. But if it goes out peacefully and nothing happens, you don't have any problem with the police.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that the media has a responsibility to ensure that organs of state, including the police, who are actually aware, because this is the first time the police is being told this very thing. I don't think they are dumb. And if they are trying to please political masters, then they should stop. And I think that even this platform should offer the president an opportunity to even make it an unnecessary venture.
Don't you anticipate some violence or some clash?
Why should there be violence? Why should there be clash? Why should anyone oppose the free expression of constitutional rights of people to have somebody removed because the person has endangered lives and has even occasioned deaths? Today, as we sit, do you know whether there will be an election in 2024? I don't think so. And if there will be an election in 2024, do you think it will not be violent considering what is happening right now? People would want to settle scores there and then. And we've seen what happened in Parliament. A simple speaker election. You saw what our parliamentarians did, you know, and soldiers came into the hall like it happened in the elections. So that is the new normal. And so if that is the new normal,
should never be a reason for a fight.
Exactly.
You are only going to decide that, for me, candidate A's messages have been convincing, so I'm going casting my ballot for candidate A and go away. There shouldn't be any occasion where anybody should attempt to create any violence at a voting polling.
Exactly.
Look, please, you need to be alive to even to see the person who has won the election and whatever the person intends to do. So for me, nobody should be predicting a violent election. Let everybody understand that, please, election is about what? Choices. Life is all about choices. So if you are going to choose your candidate, choose it. Let the parties do a good job by sending better people who understand the electoral process to go and monitor the process.
What about the school of thought that what we saw in 2020 witnessed returning officers announcing other results rather than what should have been the collated results? And we've seen videos of people who are announcing results in some rooms outside the collation centers and so on. So there's the perception that now people will be very, very proactive.
It is simple. You see, Dr. Kojo Farin has always said that, look, nobody can sit in EC head office and steal an election for you. If you want elections to go in your favor or you don't want anybody to steal election, it is who you send to the base, which is the polling station, and how the person understands the electoral process.
I was at the base.
If the person understands the electoral process and the person does the right thing, it's difficult for anybody to steal an election for you. It's as simple as ABCD.
Eric, I was at the base. This is a police report, okay, from the Dansma police. On the 7th of January, just when the thing was happening, we had occasion to make a police report. Why? Because presiding officers had opened the ballot boxes in the hall without authorization. We drew the attention of the returning officer. He came and indicated that he had not given authorization. The Cordio rep was there. The media was there. The media refused. In fact, I'll name some of the stations. Joy FM and TV Africa. Their persons refused to, as it were, cover that infraction. Today, as we speak, this is a police report. The police is saying that the EC officials are refusing to cooperate with the police in the investigations. The election ballot boxes have been opened. Things were being tampered with. This was at the base. How do you collate these results and get a total figure at the top?
Now, open at what point?
It is in the police report.
No, that's you are saying. I have not read the police report.
Okay, so let me read a brief fact on the police report. On the 7th of December 2020, about 9:30 p.m., Isaac Ayi, the Ablekuma West constituency organizer of the NDC, accompanied by Prince Derek Ejay, came to the station and reported that whilst they were at the Ablekuma West constituency coalition center, the presiding officers of some of the polling stations allegedly brought some ballot boxes without seals. That some of the presiding officers were also allegedly seen at the coalition center trying to break the seals on some of the ballot boxes. The complaint submitted, blah, 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 and it goes on police action and results. On the receipt of the complaint, police wrote to the Ablekuma West municipal electoral officer seeking assistance to trace the whereabouts of the presiding officers whose names have been mentioned. The electoral officer is yet to respond to the letter written by the police, and case is under investigation. And this 1st February 2021.
So when was the case reported?
7th December.
On that day. Are they saying that there was no police, there were no police guard at the place where the ballot was?
The police commander, the district crime officer, the divisional crime officer were all there, and also we had video evidence of the people who were breaking the thing.
So the police said it's an allegation.
No, I'm saying that the evidence has been provided the police. In fact, it's in the thing that they were given.
The police
evidence.
said you came and filed a report.
No, he didn't read. It said blah blah blah.
Yes,
blah,
and
blah,
that they have written to the electoral,
and they are refusing to cooperate.
They are not getting.
Why should they refuse to cooperate?
Why should they?
Why have we not seen an EC that is growing wings and want to
not give that
doesn't want to respect
it? Police have power to go and look for people.
They should arrest them.
Of course, but what is the police there? Then why did you
can't arrest the EC?
No, please.
The EC is above the law.
Who said so?
The EC is above the law.
Who said so?
Why you don't know that?
No, I don't know that.
Okay, very well.
How can police say we have invited the person hasn't come, so they are sitting there? You see this thing?
Look, December 7th today.
When we sit in this country and we entertain some of these things because we think that we can blame somebody at a higher position, the situation will be the same.
So December 7th,
if police is looking for Elvis for a crime, and they invite Elvis every time, sure, the police will come and arrest me. So what are they talking about? So let's not even go there.
So the police must arrest them.
Let's for the vetting. As for me, I think I want to talk about the vetting, especially what happened to.
So be wrapping up. And then
what happened to Howard Kumsin yesterday? See, yes, Howard Kumsin's inability to explain or give good reason why she should be the fisheries minister is not forgivable, because you are going to a sector that you are going to be like the supervisor of the sector. So if you don't really understand what the sector is about, for me, it's a problem. That's why I have always argued that as a developing country that lack the kind of structures that advanced countries have, I am of the opinion that if we are sending somebody to a sector, the person should have the expertise in that sector to be able to be sent there as a minister. And that has been my position all along. Because I've always said that if we value the Ghanaian economy to the extent that for a finance minister, we always look at the people with the finance, economic or investment background, if to be a finance minister, and we have paid this attention to that sector, then if we really understand that fisheries or other sectors are also important, then we should send people with the expertise to those places.
Okay,
I'm not a person who is for that kind of just anybody going to a sector. But people shouldn't look at people because they can't speak English. You see, there are a lot of people who haven't been to any education.
Just wrap up.
But they have been able to deliver successful things in life. So if
it is not about CVs.
It's not about CV or ability to speak English. Okay. But I believe that in this country, if we go for a fisherman,
I want you to wrap up.
Yeah, if you go for a chief fisherman somewhere who has not been to school but understand the rudiments of fishing and make that person a fisheries minister, you can deliver better than somebody who has a PhD yet has not had a practical knowledge in the sector.
Okay, that sounds controversial, but I don't know.
Well,
briefly, let's say a minute.
I think it's
unfortunately a minute to wrap up.
No problem. I think it's an indictment on the appointing authority. The quality of persons that the president appoints or nominates to send to Parliament for vetting is important, and it also underlines the respect that they have for Parliament. They assume that it's going to be a rubber stamp. Fortunately for us this time around, we don't have a rubber stamp. And I think that we must have pressure on Parliament, not just the NDC side, but the entire Parliament to deliver unto us good ministers. These are nominees. At any point in time, they can be withdrawn. In fact, the attempt by the finance minister nominee to dodge the vetting is, for me, a critical point that we must look at.
Okay.
If he returns in time, he must be vetted. And if he's not a minister, he should not read a budget. And if it means that we will not have a budget this time around, we should not have a budget.
Well, Charles,
so the president
is there, so let's see how.
So the president must go ahead. The president must go ahead and nominate him.
The first time become a minister if he's not vetted. So how can he be judging if he wants to be a minister?
So if there's no minister, there will be no budget.
Okay.
The deputy minister can do it.
No.
Why can't the deputy minister present the budget?
You must have a minister go to Parliament.
Prince.
Yes.
Derek J. and Elvis Dako. Let's hear what others are saying. I want to do this quickly because our time is up. We have entertainment just to wrap up for you because today is Friday. This one says Supreme Court case issue. I will say that the judges are doing whatever the judges are doing, we should leave them. Even Nebuchadnezzar kingdom came to an end. Nana Addo and his MPP government will not rule forever. From Ablade Efiekuma Zongo. This text message says, we have the men, Chia, no nominee Mevisawa Kumsin, what is fish farming, Mr. Chairman, blah, blah, blah. This coming from Nana H. Lab. I don't know whether it's Laboni. This one says, from Dr. Abedi, Kwadaso Aka, police ni Nedruno. Thank God for the Supreme Court has, in a unanimous decision, dismissed the NDC application. This one also says, my name is Idrisu Adam from Northern Region, Yankpala. Infiltration of foreign culture itself destroys our Ghanaian language. We have it in our syllabus, but we can't even speak it accurately, even the subject in English, apart from yours. We also post on qualified personnel to teach people and so on. Let me read 3 more. I'm told the time is up, but I beg you, let's also give some space to our audience or viewers who also follow us. Good morning, Mr. Eric. I am Azure Stephen Asobaza. I am a language teacher, yet the language I learned was linguistics in the University of Winneba, Ejumaku campus. Gurini is not examinable. Sometimes I feel sorry for this, and GES is happy with it. What is wrong with Ghana? I am from Upper East, Zuarungu. 2 more as I promised. This one says, good morning, Brother Eric. I really like the subject because it applies to Ghanaians living abroad and our children who cannot speak our languages. Thanks from Nevada. Last one. This one says, good morning, XYZ, and thanks so much for bringing this language topic. I'm an Ashanti, so why must a teacher be force me to learn Ga or ever? GS must do something about this. Thank from Eunice. Unfortunately, Eunice, we had a technical problem, and I have a lot more text messages I cannot read now. We are very sorry, but we must also respect time. Because of the technical hitch we had, we lost some space. I believe next week it will be more exciting. Elvis Dako is the editor of the Finder newspaper, one of the well-packaged newspapers you find on the market. They have the business paper which comes out on some selected days, and of course the general news.
When is Awal going for vetting?
And then Awal, when? Wednesday. Okay, and then we have Prince Derek J. a writer and a researcher and a political activist, the former National Youth is it
National Youth Authority?
National Youth Authority boss.
Youth Enterprise Support.
Okay.
As we are complaining, let's go back to pick local books written local in our homes. Even if the school is failing us, in our homes,
and our libraries should also do more.
Yes.
Abena will be back with JKD. We've taken all the time, but there will be some little space. I beg my producers for people to see what is happening. I American here. Abena will take over and close the program.
So this is the entertainment segment of the morning update on TVXYZ, and I have with me. Should I say it?
Why do you have to sigh before you?
Oh, it was a sigh of excitement.
Sigh of excitement.
Yes, I have with me the ladies' man in the studio, JKD. That's why I said, are you happy now? How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Not bad.
Looking refreshing on a Friday.
I was hoping to see you in an African print.
No, I wear me.
You wear you,
yeah.
And you are who? You are Ghanaian.
I'm yours truly, JKD.
Before we get into fighting, what do you have today?
Okay, so this past week it was all around of the fact that Funny Face. Of course, we spoke about Funny Face way back.
Yeah.
And the courts, told
the police
to take him back to the psychiatric hospital. Looking at updates on his pages, we've realized that he hasn't updated anything recently, so probably he might be in the process as we're speaking. But we wish him the best. As I keep on saying, he's family to us. He's a brother.
Yeah, but I'm only disappointed we had to wait for the court to order it. I'm sure some of the creative arts heads could have, done this, because I know for a fact that Socrates Safo is one person who had been talking to him behind closed doors.
Not only him, a lot of
I don't know the others, but
industry.
I know that Socrates Safo
even owners of radio stations and whatnot have been calling him and talking to him. His close friends, everybody has been talking to him. You get it. But sometimes when the issue is aggravated, it's very, very high. Sometimes the person,
it's true.
It's
so true.
Well.
But I also hear that the dead is alive.
Yeah,
it's like you can never kill her.
You so much remind me of her. Yes, because
but I'm alive.
Your natural hair and everything. I mean, your color and everything. But well, she would have been probably 20-something. This past week on the 16th of February, that's when she celebrates her birthday. May her soul rest in perfect peace. We're talking about Ebony. And well, Bullet has taken it upon himself to release a new song featuring Wendy Shay, which is called John 8:7.
What is Starboy Quatin saying about this?
He hasn't come out to say anything. But my question here is, what is in John 8:7? What's your Bible? You're looking for... Anyways, so, well, you know, Ebony, when she was alive, had so many controversies around her. And Bullet came out talking about the fact that Ebony was always complaining to him. Why are people talking about her? Why are people, even her clothes, what she wears, this, that, you get it.
I think it's because we are a conservative country. Consecutive with air quotes.
Consecutive in what way?
In air quotes.
Oh,
can we
please,
move on?
Come on.
Now, I think the interesting fact is that there is a song that has been released by Ebony.
Yes, John 8:7, in collaboration with Wendy Shay, talking about people, you know, bad mouthing others, jealousy here and there. You should hear the song. The song is already out, so probably just listen to the song. Yes, listen to the song and judge for yourself what you think. I think it's an amazing song. Just to hear Ebony's voice once again is refreshing enough. I mean, Sarkodie did that bit with her. And Wendy Shay is out with her too as well. So, you know, go check it out if you're a fan of Ebony.
To be broken,
make sure
in our graves.
You check it out. Okay, so apart from that, well, Yapuno jabbed Shatta Wale this week. You know, I think it was just a tweet. He was like, Charlie, the streets make quiet, make a jab you some, you know, that kind of thing. And you know how Shatta Wale is.
Yes,
so Shatta Wale was like, Charlie, he doesn't have time for this kind of nonsense. Now make he, you know, get time for underground.
Come on for that.
You know, get time for underground artists.
I like Shatta.
You know, get time for underground. The key word is underground artists. So Charlie, he pay Yapuno. I mean, like Yapuno. You say he be underground. Like Patapa Dems. Oh, so yeah, Patapa to vex.
Of course.
Because you say Patapa to be underground. So he vex. But he came out politely. I wonder say if he be in now with Twitter.
You see, I think
I think say maybe somebody day back because the way Patapa tweets the thing there. Hey,
it's probably his wife.
His wife?
Yeah, but
are you sure?
Well, she looks very decent, so.
Very decent. And Okoye has son.
It's okay. Thank you. Now, what do you have?
Okay. Let's move away from Ghana. Let's talk about Stevie Wonder. How do you know Stevie Wonder? You like him?
I do. I mean, he's a very intelligent man. And Stevie
Wonder.
Look, please, don't spoil my market. I know Stevie Wonder.
Yeah,
he's not a blind musician.
So Stevie Wonder was having
him that way,
a conversation with Oprah Winfrey and hinted that he might be relocating back to Ghana.
So we are still in Ghana then?
Yes, of course.
So we are still in Ghana then?
But we are overseas. We don't come back to Ghana. Won't you rub the show in Ghana or you won't go meet Stevie Wonder?
Calm down. That's not what I said.
Okay, all right. So he has roots here.
You just hyped up this morning.
He has roots over here, so definitely that's.
I mean, I like the fact that people are coming home. I know some Jamaicans who have come to Ghana to stay.
Are you a Jamaican?
I said I know some Jamaicans who have come to Ghana to stay.
But I think that wraps it up for entertainment.
That's all you have for today.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I also heard Cardi B said something on Valentine's Day with regards to
grass.
Yeah.
She's not serious. She came to chew her kebab now. She talk about grass.
And also Rihanna had some hot photos on Twitter that got people talking.
Rihanna.
Yes, Rihanna.
Rihanna?
Yes.
Hey,
she was like
and
I saw it.
But let's talk about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West too. There's a feud there.
That's one story.
We don't know whether they are splitting or not. But there's something coming up about being splitting up. So
Kim's lawyer came out with something, and there are one couple that I really admired. So then it scares me. Do I get a boyfriend? Do I not get a boyfriend? Well, the answer will be, the question will be answered.
This girl,
The question will be answered. Now, this has been the morning update on TV XYZ, proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural, and of course, Health Alert Clinic. Let's go herbal. A Health Alert Clinic uses herbal medicine to cure lots of chronic diseases. So you can go there and get yourself checked, or even go for hepatitis B free screening. My name is Nana Abinasewa, and I've been doing this with Eric Ahianyo, and JKD joined us today. So see you again on Monday, and enjoy your weekend.